Some actors are good at playing tough guys. Some actors were genuine tough guys before they took up acting. Men like Lenny McLean, who was a dangerous street fighter before his acting break in The Knock and then Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. Some men were amongst the toughest fighters in the world before they took up acting. Men like Randall Tex Cobb, Jack O'Halloran and George Chuvalo. And what happened when two tough actors came to blows in a Hollywood hotel? The story of the Tamer Hassan Vinnie Jones fight is coming up as well. First up, fighter turned actor, Irish Jack O'Halloran. Known as the Giant, standing 6'6" tall, he once fought future champions George Foreman and Ken Norton in a career spanning 57 fights. As an actor, best known for his role as Non, one of the 3 alien supervillains who came to Earth to seek revenge in Superman 2. Irish Jack O'Halloran was an American heavyweight boxing contender in the 1960s and the 1970s. He fought Ron Lyle and future champions Ken Norton and George Foreman, and he beat former title challenger Cleveland Williams. The Jack lost to an up-and-coming George Foreman, who was 14-0. Foreman stopped him in round 5 in Madison Square Garden in 1970. But as you can see, Jack put up a real fight and went toe-to-toe, punch for punch, with one of the hardest punchers of all time. This in itself deserves massive respect. Jack also lost on points over 10 rounds to Ken Norton. Jack came over to England and beat future British and Commonwealth champion Danny McAlinden. He actually gave McAlinden his first loss after Danny had notched up 11 wins. Jack came over to Britain again to fight Jack Bodell, but this time Bodell actually stopped Jack in round number 4. Jack O'Halloran also beat Cleveland Williams on points. Jack also lost over 10 rounds to Ron Stander. Many of you will remember Ron Stander gave Roy Shaw his toughest fight. So Jack won the California State Heavyweight Championship in 1972, and he was close to a fight with Muhammad Ali when he suffered a shock defeat by knockout to Jimmy Somerville. He knocked out Jimmy Somerville in the rematch, but he would never reach title contention again. Jack retired from boxing in 1974 due to a tumour in his pituitary gland, and he's been inducted into both the California and New Jersey Boxing Hall of Fame. Upon retiring, he starred in numerous movies including King Kong, Superman 1 and 2, Dragnet and Farewell My Lovely alongside Robert Mitchum. He was also in episodes of Knight Rider and Murder, She Wrote. Randall Tex Cobb. Randall Tex Cobb is one of the toughest boxers of all time. Instantly recognisable with his grizzled features, big moustache and tough demeanour. He was a legendary tough guy with one of the best chins in heavyweight boxing, with only 1 loss by stoppage in 51 professional fights. And he withstood the legendary punch power of Ernie Shavers, regarded by many as the greatest puncher in boxing history. Randall Tex Cobb withstood Ernie Shavers for 8 rounds before beating Ernie by stoppage, a real testament to his toughness. 3 months after the Ernie Shavers fight, Randall dropped a split decision to future champion Ken Norton, and then only months later he fought Michael Dokes, a very good fighter who was unbeaten in 20 fights. Dokes scraped through on points over 10 against Cobb. And in his famous 15-round title fight against Larry Holmes, he took a huge amount of punishment and kept on gamely coming forward, trying to land his own shots, never giving up. This was Larry Holmes at his most spiteful as well, and it was one of the most one-sided title fights in history, with announcer Howard Cosell being so appalled at the beating that Randall Tex Cobb took that he retired live on air, saying that he wanted nothing more to do with boxing. Randall Tex Cobb is now 73 and shows no sign of brain damage from all the punishment he took throughout his career. Randall Tex Cobb also had a great sense of humour, and he built quite a repertoire of jokes around the Larry Holmes fight.
You feel embarrassed losing to him at all?
For what?
Well,
I didn't lose a fight, Johnny.
Yeah.
Shucks, I just lost the first 15 rounds.
Yeah.
I mean...
Did you make, I don't want to be personal, this is really not my business, but did you make a fair amount of money for that fight?
Well, I made about half what they told me I was going to make.
Really?
Yeah, well, it's,
you have a lot of expenses, don't you, as a fighter?
Yeah, one of the most expensive things you can do is no darn king.
Yeah?
That gets, boy, the money that costs right there, shucks.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
What a
Didn't you
sign
have
for-
an acting career at one time going?
I don't believe what I did would consider a career.
Yeah.
I went from getting beat up in the ring to getting beat up in the movie, which was a sight easier and paid better. I'll go for that.
You were in the John Voight picture?
Yeah. I was a stunning portrayal of a young fighter.
Did you see
Somehow the Academy missed it when they passed out. But I thought that probably in the next few years it'll become a cult classic.
Yeah. You know, there's a big...
So Randall Tex Cobb had roles in Raising Arizona, Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, once again with Jim Carrey in Liar Liar, and an episode of The X-Files, amongst many others. Lenny McLean was a street fighter, a bare-knuckle fighter, a doorman, debt collector, bodyguard, and an unlicensed boxer. Known as the hardest man in Britain in the 1970s and 1980s, he was a formidable figure, standing 6'2" and sometimes weighing 22 stone, but still very fast at that weight. He became the Governor of London by beating Roy Shaw in 2 of their 3 fights, and once took on a gang of 18 men armed with a piece of wood. Lenny moved into acting in his later life with a role in TV series The Knock in 1996, and then in 1998 a part in Guy Ritchie's Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. Sadly, Lenny would never see the success of the movie, as he was battling with cancer during the filming and passed away in 1998 at the age of 49 before the movie's release. George Chuvalo, 93 professional boxing matches, never once being knocked down. Fought Floyd Patterson, Ernie Terrell, Cleveland Williams. He challenged Muhammad Ali twice. Once for the title in 1966.
Was I any more nervous fighting Ali than anyone else? I don't think. I guess bigger fights have more tension.
He took on Joe Frazier and George Foreman, who were the only 2 men to stop him. Both times he was stopped on his feet. A truly tough man, and just like Randall Tex Cobb, is regarded as having one of the best chins in boxing history. Muhammad Ali called him the toughest man he ever faced, and the bout was one of Ali's toughest. Chuvalo's power, which saw him stop 63 out of 73 wins, had Ali holding on numerous times in the fight. Upon retiring from boxing, he took up acting, and he has 16 credits to his name, including a cameo in The Fly, in which he arm wrestles Jeff Goldblum's character Seth Brundle, with a horrific outcome. Sadly, George has had a terrible time outside of boxing, losing 3 of his 5 sons to heroin abuse and suicide. He became an anti-drugs crusader, travelling across America, giving talks, and he would receive the keys to his hometown of Toronto for all of his work. He is now 86 years old and sadly suffering from dementia. Tamer Hassan and Vinnie Jones, 2 British actors with a reputation for being tough, came to blows in a Hollywood hotel in 2010. Vinnie Jones, an ex-footballer with a reputation for being aggressive and violent, crossed over to acting with a lead role in Guy Ritchie's film Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. Tamer Hassan boxed as an amateur and had a very good amateur record, he once told me. Both big men, they came to blows in Hollywood hotel Chateau Marmont. According to the Daily Mail, Vinnie Jones launched an unprovoked attack on Tamer, which turned into quite a fight, leaving Vinnie with numerous bruises and cuts and Tamer with a minor cut. The Daily Mail also said Tamer had gone to shake hands with Vinnie, who according to a witness was very drunk. Jones then slapped Tamer's hand away, some pushing and shoving started, and then Vinnie was said to have hit Tamer, resulting in a full-scale fight. The witness saying Vinnie was in a bad way after taking a bit of a beating and looked like he needed stitches. Blood was everywhere. Hassan's lawyers said his client was subjected to an unprovoked attack by Vinnie Jones, and he regrets being put in a position of having to defend himself, but defend himself he did. A spokesman for Vinnie Jones categorically denied that Vinnie launched an unprovoked attack, and apparently they're both on speaking terms again now, and they sorted out their differences, and it's all water under the bridge. I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who supports the channel. It means the world to me, all your comments, all your likes, all your shares, and I really appreciate that. And if you do like the content, please feel free to subscribe. That all helps with the channel. But yeah, I can't thank you enough. So just before I go, I've got a couple of honourable mentions I'd like to do. A couple of actors who were tough guys and boxers. First up, my friend Dave Legeno, who was a boxer. He was a cage fighter and a really, really good actor. I've just done a video about Dave, so I'll put a link in the description to that video. You can go and see more about Dave there, but he was a real tough guy, but a really lovely guy, and he sadly passed away back in 2014, so rest in peace, Dave. And I also wanted to give a shout out to Gary Stretch. Gary Stretch fought Chris Eubank for the WBO World Middleweight title, and as an actor has 35 credits, including one of my favourite films, Dead Man's Shoes. And you can also go over to Ray Hill's channel, and there's some interviews with Gary Stretch over there. So thank you everyone for watching, I really appreciate that, and I look forward to seeing you all on the next video. Nice one.